The Wehrmacht deployed a vast and varied array of armored machines during World War II, from Panthers and Tigers to nimble reconnaissance cars and half-tracks. In this video, we examine every significant vehicle they threw onto the battlefield, beginning with their battle tanks. The Panzers. Panzer I, originally conceived as a training tank. The tiny Panzer I was nevertheless pushed into frontline service during the invasions of Poland and France. Armed only with twin machine guns and protected by very thin armor, it depended on speed and numbers rather than survivability. Panzer II, a stopgap design that became a backbone of the early Blitzkrieg. The Panzer II carried a 20mm autocannon effective against light vehicles and infantry. Although it was outmatched later in the war, its chassis proved extremely useful as a basis for self-propelled guns and other conversions. Panzer XXXV-T, captured after the annexation of Czechoslovakia. This Skoda-built tank stood out for its high-quality construction and its pneumatic transmission. It saw prominent service in the early campaigns and is recognizable by the small gap behind its bogey wheels. Panzer XXXVIII-T, widely regarded as one of the best light tanks of the war's opening years. This Czech-designed vehicle was reliable and armed with a 37mm gun that packed a respectable punch. Its sturdy chassis later underpinned the famous Hetzer tank destroyer. Panzer III, developed as Germany's primary tank fighter, the Panzer III featured a three-man turret that improved tactical efficiency and divided workload among commander, gunner, and loader, while its main gun later proved less able to cope with the heaviest Soviet armor. Its layout influenced medium tank design standards. Panzer IV, the Wehrmacht's true workhorse. The Panzer IV was the only German tank model produced continuously throughout the entire conflict, repeatedly upgunned and up-armored. It served across every theater from North Africa to the Eastern Front. Panther, Panzer V, built in direct response to the Soviet T-34. The Panther combined slope armor, strong mobility, and a high-velocity 75mm main gun. Despite troublesome mechanical teething in its early deliveries, it is frequently ranked among the best medium tanks of World War II. Tiger I, Panzer VI, a legend of heavy armor. The Tiger I struck dread into Allied crews with its thick, box-like protection and devastating 88mm gun. It could dominate at long ranges but was slow, fuel-hungry, and maintenance-intensive. Tiger II, King Tiger. An immense 70-ton behemoth, the King Tiger merged the heavy armor of a true heavy tank with sloping elements inspired by the Panther. Nearly invulnerable to frontal fire, it was nevertheless hampered by its enormous weight, which ruined bridges and seriously burdened its drivetrain. Next, we move from tanks to tank destroyers and assault guns. Sturmgeschütz III, Stu G3. By removing the turret from the reliable Panzer III chassis, Germany produced the Stu G3, a low-profile assault gun and ambush predator. It became the most produced German armored vehicle of the war and excelled in defensive and infantry support roles. Jagdpanzer XXXVIII-T, the Hetzer, small, sharply angled, and difficult to spot. The Hetzer was an inexpensive tank destroyer built on the trusted 38T chassis. Its sloped armor and hull-mounted machine gun made it a nasty surprise for advancing enemy units. Jagdpanzer IV, nicknamed Guderian's Duck for its nose-heavy appearance and tendency to wobble, this low-slung tank hunter carried a long-barreled 75mm gun. It proved deadly in defense, able to engage opponents from concealed positions. Marder II, produced as heavier enemy tanks appeared. The Marder II mounted a large anti-tank gun on an obsolete Panzer II chassis. It was an open-top, expedient solution that provided urgently needed anti-tank firepower. Marder III, similar in purpose to the Marder II but built on the Czech 38T chassis, the Marder III mounted captured Soviet weapons or German anti-tank guns. Though crews were exposed, its gun was capable of knocking out most Allied tanks it faced. Nasher, literally rhinoceros. This vehicle was essentially a long-barreled 88mm anti-tank gun mounted on a relatively light chassis. It had almost no armor and relied on sniping enemy tanks from extreme distances. Jagdpanther, often cited as the war's most effective tank destroyer. The Jag Panther combined the excellent Panther chassis with a potent 88mm gun. It offered an exemplary balance of mobility, protection, and firepower. Ferdinand/Elephant, built on Porsche's rejected Tiger hulls. The Ferdinand, later upgraded and renamed Elephant, was a ponderous, heavily armored bunker buster with a distinctive petrol-electric drive, nearly impervious from the front in many engagements. Early variants lacked a defensive machine gun. Jag Tiger, the heaviest armored fighting vehicle to enter service. The Jag Tiger mounted an enormous 128mm gun capable of obliterating any tank. Unfortunately, it was a logistical and mechanical nightmare and often broke down before it could influence a battle. Now we turn to self-propelled artillery and anti-aircraft platforms. Nashorn, Sturmpanzer and Bison. Self-propelled artillery experiments. Early attempts mounted large infantry guns on light chassis, sometimes resulting in top-heavy and overloaded vehicles. These provided mobile heavy fire support in the early campaigns despite their instability. The Wasp. This successful conversion turned obsolete Panzer II chassis into a light, mobile artillery piece. Quick and maneuverable, it could shoot and scoop with Panzer divisions to supply immediate indirect fire. Hummel, the Bumblebee. Built on a hybrid Panzer III/IV chassis, the Hummel carried a 15cm howitzer, delivering powerful indirect fire although ammunition capacity was limited. Grill, literally cricket. The Grill mounted a heavy infantry gun on the Czech 38T chassis to allow infantry units to deliver direct fire blows against fortifications. Sturmpanzer IV Brummbär, nicknamed the Grouch or Grizzly Bear. This boxy vehicle was optimized for urban combat. Its short barrel, large caliber gun was designed specifically to pulverize buildings and blast apart bunkers. Sturmtiger, a rare and fearsome monster built on the Tiger I chassis. The Sturmtiger fired a massive 380mm rocket-propelled charge intended to demolish entire city blocks during urban assaults. Flak Panzer IV Wirbelwind, the Whirlwind, with an open-top turret housing 4 20mm anti-aircraft cannons. It created a dense wall of fire devastating to low-flying aircraft and soft-ground targets. Flak Panzer IV Ostwind, an improvement over earlier designs. The Ostwind used a hexagonal turret mounting a single, powerful 37mm flak cannon, extending engagement range against aircraft. Flak Panzer 38T, an interim anti-aircraft solution mounting a single 20mm gun on the rear of a 38T chassis. It offered minimal armor protection and left its crew vulnerable to strafing. Next, armored half-tracks and prime movers. SD.KFZ 251 Hanomag. The iconic Hanomag half-track served as the battle taxi for Panzer Grenadiers. With its sloped armor and off-road capability, it allowed infantry to ride with the tanks and dismount into the fight. SD.KFZ 250, a smaller half-track cousin to the Hanomag. The 250 was shortened for reconnaissance and command tasks. Its compact size made it agile and ideal as a scout or liaison vehicle. SD.KFZ-7, a medium prime mover. This 8-ton half-track was essential for towing the famous 88mm flak guns and heavy howitzers. It commonly transported gun crews and tow equipment. SD.KFZ-9 FAMO, the heavy lifter of the German forces. The FAMO was a massive half-track used to recover damaged tanks and haul exceptionally heavy loads, sometimes needing 2 or 3 chained together to pull a bogged Tiger free. SD.KFZ-10, a light prime mover widely used to tow light anti-tank guns like the PaK-36 and PaK-38. It was nimble and produced in great numbers to mechanize lighter artillery units. SD.KFZ-11, the standard light artillery tractor tasked with towing field howitzers and naval warfare rocket launchers, bridging the gap between light and medium prime movers. Kettenkrad, SD.KFZ. 2. A unique hybrid motorcycle tracked vehicle originally intended for airborne troops, but famed for its ability to traverse the mud of the Eastern Front. It could haul light guns and access terrain that stopped ordinary trucks. Opel Maltier, Faced with the deep Russian mud, German engineers converted standard Opel Blitz trucks by fitting tracked rear sections. The resulting mule was a logistical lifeline where wheeled vehicles failed. Continuing with armored reconnaissance vehicles, light scout cars and armored cars. Early war scout vehicles were typically small, four-wheeled armored cars with angled bodies and small turrets carrying 20mm cannons. Fast on roads, they were the eyes and ears of reconnaissance battalions. SD.KFC 231 series. Larger 8-wheeled heavy armored cars with complex suspensions that enabled them to cross rough ground. Some models featured dual driver positions, one forward and one rear, to allow rapid withdrawal without turning. SD.KFC 234/2 Puma. Arguably the best armored car of the war. The Puma combined high speed, an unclosed turret, and a capable 50mm gun. It could outclass many Allied reconnaissance vehicles. SD.KFC 263 Radio car. Based on heavy 8-wheeled chassis, this variant featured a fixed superstructure topped with a large frame antenna. It served as a mobile communications hub, coordinating the vast movements of Panzer formations. Light utility vehicles, staff cars, and motorcycles. VW Schwimmwagen. Type 166. Derived from Volkswagen components, the Schwimmwagen featured a bathtub-shaped hull and a fold-down propeller. It became the most produced amphibious car in history, able to cross rivers and bogs. Porsche Typ 108. A heavy off-road personnel vehicle used for towing light guns and transporting troops. Notable for its robust V8 engine and early war service. Steyr 1500A. A rugged, air-cooled staff car produced in Austria, prized by officers and commanders for reliability in harsh climates from North Africa to Russia. Mercedes-Benz G4, a massive 6-wheeled luxury touring car often seen in propaganda, transporting high-ranking Nazi officials. More a prestige vehicle than a combat asset. BMW R75, a heavy military motorcycle with a driven sidecar wheel for superior off-road traction. It was a durable workhorse for dispatch riders and reconnaissance detachments. Opel Blitz 3.6. The legendary Opel Blitz truck, identifiable by its lightning bolt logo, was the Wehrmacht's primary cargo vehicle. Reliable and straightforward, it hauled everything from ammunition to troops, keeping supply lines moving. Krupp Protes, KFC 69. Sometimes called the Boxer for its flat engine layout, this 6-wheeled truck was used to tow light anti-tank guns and transport motorized infantry. Raupenschlepper Ost, RSO, purpose-built for the brutal conditions of the Eastern Front. The RSO was a fully tracked tractor that sacrificed speed for the ability to drag artillery through deep mud and snow. Henschel 33, a heavy 6-wheeled truck that entered service before the war. Sturdy and reliable, it carried heavy loads and engineering gear across theaters. Einheitsdiesel, a standardized diesel 6-wheel drive truck with independent suspension. Mechanically complex, it nevertheless offered exceptional cross-country ability for a wheeled cargo vehicle. Finally, specialized in siege machines. Panzerwerfer 42. This system mounted a 10-barrel Navalwerfer rocket launcher atop an armored half-track. Known for the terrifying shriek of its rockets, it provided mobile saturation bombardment. Karl Jarrett, a monstrous self-propelled siege mortar that fired 2-ton shells. Only a handful were built to crack the toughest fortresses, such as Sevastopol, and each required massive crews and crane support. Goliath tracked mine, a small, remote-controlled tracked vehicle packed with explosives and nicknamed the Beetle. Designed to be driven beneath enemy tanks or into fortifications, it was vulnerable to having its control wire cut in the field. This comprehensive roster, from light scouts and staff cars to the heaviest siege mortars, shows the breadth of vehicles the Wehrmacht fielded, each designed to fulfill specific tactical and logistical roles on the varied battlefields of World War II.